We wanted to give you a timeline of the events that led up to this point. It began years ago with football and close relationships, professional and personal.
There's a lot of history between Zach Smith and Urban Meyer. Smith is the grandson of legendary Ohio State football coach Earl Bruce. When Bruce died earlier this year, Meyer gave the eulogy, calling Bruce a second father.
There'll never be a day that I'm not grateful and appreciative to the Bruce family for allowing me to be part of your family for the past 32 years.
Smith began working for Urban Meyer in 2007 at the University of Florida. 2 years later, Smith was charged with felonious assault against a pregnant person. According to the police report, his wife, Courtney, said Zach came home drunk from a party hosted by Meyer. She says her husband grabbed her by the shirt and threw her. Courtney Smith told former ESPN writer Brett McMurphy that Earl Bruce and Zach's mother asked her to drop the charges, which she did. Meyer has always admitted knowing about that situation. Fast forward to 2011. Urban Meyer is named the head football coach at Ohio State and hires Zach Smith to be his receivers coach. In 2015, Courtney Smith calls police, saying Zach shoved her against a wall and put his hands around her neck in front of their daughter. No charges were filed, and the couple divorced. May of 2018, Powell police charged Smith with criminal trespassing, and according to Brett McMurphy, Courtney Smith takes out a civil domestic order against him. Zach Smith is fired on July 23rd. Then, the next day, Urban Meyer is asked about previous domestic violence allegations against Smith. In particular, the incident from 2015. Here's his answer.
I was never told about anything. Anything came to light. I never had a conversation about it.
August 1st, Brett McMurphy drops his bombshell story on Facebook. It includes photos of Courtney Smith's injuries from the 2015 incident and text messages between Urban Meyer's wife, Shelley, and Courtney Smith about the abuse. That same day, Urban Meyer is placed on paid administrative leave.
And many of you have been asking us on social media, why would Urban Meyer lose his job when someone else is accused of domestic violence? Well, that comes down to his contract. The contract Meyer signed this April includes a clause which requires him to report, quote, any known violations of Ohio State's sexual misconduct policy, which addresses domestic violence. A known violation can be an allegation alone, and it clearly states that this is regardless of whether those allegations result in criminal charges or not. If the panel finds that Meyer violated the contract, he could be fired without cause, or with cause rather, without collecting a buyout.